What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'll be a little softer today, not really super vocal because it's hard to talk about this while there's 1,000 people here inside this house. But I'm going to do it anyway because it's been almost 2 weeks. This will be the episode 81, and we're going to talk about your mental health in 2023. Not only am I saying it's your mental health, it's pretty much my mental health and an experience that you're going to relate to. Right? I'm not trying to tell you anything. Like, hey, you listen to me. No. This is just kind of the experience and the thoughts that I've had for this next 2023. And if you guys haven't been part of the podcast, welcome. I do talk about my mental health, which in relation expands into your mental health, as long as you're relatable to the topic, right? So your mental health in 2023, there's one quote that I wrote down. I came up with it, I don't know when, at some point, and it is, quote, "We all have happiness. It's just masked behind the layers of trauma we define as ourselves." I wrote that at some time this week because I was thinking about, I could say, the past couple years and how my mental health has diminished and how it has gone down in significantly, honestly. And a lot of the stuff that I was looking for at that time was, how can I just be happy again? How can I be happy again? How can I be happy again? Please let me find my happiness again. Please, I used to be happy. How come I can't be happy? You could look at it this way, right? You ever try to get a girl or a guy and you put so much effort into wanting to try to get it, you never do because of neediness and the insecurities of yourself, right? So you're just insecure about a lot of the things that you want, and it shows. And now that person that you want, you're not gonna get, right? We're not gonna get him, her, it, they, whatever. I'm gonna move this camera a little bit. So it kind of relates the same way, right? We're not going to find your happiness. You're not going to find your fun. You're not going to find your rainbow when you don't take care of the things that are causing this insecurities, that's causing the uncertainties, that's causing the, I don't know what else to say. But you gotta take care of your shit. Like, you wanna be plain and simple, you gotta take care of your shit. You know, we have a lot of traumatizing events that happen to us from when we were children till we were an adult. Some people's trauma is not another person's trauma. You have your own, right? And when I say trauma, I don't mean like, blah, blah, oh my God. No, it could be a small thing. It could be you falling off your bike and then you lost your breath, so you thought you were going to die. And now it's like, I'm scared of bikes now. You know, doesn't have to be like someone beating you or someone molesting you or someone, oh God, sorry if if that happened to you. But like, there's a lot of things that just make us unhappy. But now we want to be there all the time. Right, because we're not used to connecting to the feelings of good again. Right, we only connect to the feelings of bad, to depressed, and some of you guys it's genetic too, right? Some of you guys are depressed, and your wires are a little crossed differently right now. And it takes time to uncross them or unwind them for you to find that pathway again towards your light or your joy. And for me, it took a long time. Honest to say, here's something that I said to my therapist this past Friday. I was driving in the car because that's when I talk to her, because I have to drive around and pick up everyone, so I don't have time to go to the office there. I do telehealth, and I talked to my psychiatrist. She goes, "How are you?" And the minute I heard that question, I wanted to respond how I normally do. I'm okay. Yeah, here, there. And I started to say it. I started to go, I stopped myself. I paused. I said, "I'm good. I'm happy. Like, I'm happy." And then I said it like 3 or 4 more times. Like, I'm happy. I'm fucking happy. And I said fucking happy. Obviously I talk like the way I talk to my therapist. That's the way I talk. And she was laughing because I guess the way I was saying it, it was almost like I couldn't believe that it was coming out of my mouth. So take that as it may, right? Even that moment when I do know I'm not, you're happy. It doesn't mean, just if you're happy, it doesn't mean you're not going to have issues and problems and bad thoughts and weird thoughts. It's not fucking a perfect world, but I am generally happy in everything in my life right now. So it's not, I didn't have to go back to the way I used to answer it. Because if I went back to the other way I answered it, then there would be no progress there. I wouldn't show any progress. Here comes a kid. Ready? Here comes a kid. Here comes a kid. 8 people are in this house right now, guys. So you're going to have to forgive me if someone walks through the door, because it's the only way I can do it. So, hey, buddy. Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you go downstairs, please?
Mom put on Disney too.
Because time is up. Are you not happy right now? It looks like you're what? Are you?
Yeah.
What are you?
Sad.
You're sad. Okay. Take a couple minutes. You're going to be sad. Go back downstairs, and then you can find it later.
I want to go to sleep.
Okay, go inside your room. And close the door, please, behind you. Exactly. Why cannot? I have trouble making the podcast these days. So anyway, your happiness. Let's read this again. We all have happiness. It's just masked behind the layers of trauma we define as ourselves. Like the trauma that happened to us, we start defining ourselves as it. Right? For me, I have an eating disorder. I have an eating disorder. I have an eating disorder. That's what I always say. I was fat. I'm a fat kid. This starts to define who you are, right? It starts to define the way you think about yourself, the way you think about the outlooks that are going to happen to you, the way you think. But it doesn't have to be true. You ever think about that? You ever think about that? Like, that doesn't have to be true. Sure, it happened to you. And yes, it's going to be a lot of work, and it's not easy to do so. With the help of a professional and the help of yourself trying to be better, you most likely can be better and can find happiness again. But sometimes we don't want to get through the trauma because of other reasons behind it. I lost my father. And for me to say, let me just forget about it, would be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Let me just let that go. That'd be ridiculous because I'm not going to. Not that I can't, I'm not going to. Because I want that one. That's the one I want. But like me being a fat kid, me having an eating disorder, me trying to kill myself, that doesn't have to define who I am. It doesn't mean I have to speak that way. It doesn't mean I have to do things that kind of mimic that same experience. I just have to be the person that I am right now. Right? And I am working really hard to not be that person I was before. Can you close the door, please? Close the door. And then if you're going to lay down, you have to be quiet. Dad's working on live. This is live, so say hi. Okay, watch out, please. So I used to do the same thing when I was a child. Whenever I saw a camera, my face was in it. Can you close the door, please? Thank you. Podcast number 81. You'll never forget. Never forget. Okay, number 2. Oh, here's one. And for other things that you do, right? Here's one other one where I love this quote so much because it just resonated with me, and it still resonates with me. Right? I think I used it last year, but then I really thought about it. Right? I thought about why do I use this quote, and the time I started using this quote was a time when this was one of my favorite songs when I was working out and kind of training at the time, and I was actually in the part of when I started getting depressed. Right, starting not being able to do things that I want to, not be able to express the way I want to express myself, and really held a lot of stuff in. Fuck the world because the world fucked me. E-Town Concrete. One of my favorite songs. Fuck the world because the world fucked me. Pick shit up from work as you go to bed. Yeah. Think about that. Fuck the world because the world fucked me. Sorry for all you Catholics and Christians that believe I shouldn't curse. But that's the name of the song. that I believed that quote. Right? So I would walk around with this edge on my shoulder, like, fuck this place, fuck this world. It fucked me. And don't you think after all the stuff that happened in the gym, where I lost it and I moved it and I quit and I gave up and I just blamed the world. I blamed the world. Yeah, it was hard. I was psychologically, mentally not prepared to be in that position. I was already losing it. My friend Isaiah said to me, he goes, but don't you think you probably would have lost it anyway, even if COVID didn't happen? He knew me. He knew I was already losing my mind. COVID was just icing on the cake. But now I had a gateway and something to blame the entire time. So I would say that quote, F the world because the world F'd me. And here's one thing that we cannot do. We cannot blame other sources for our own issues. Sure, it may have caused it. Sure, it may be a contributing, sure, it may have contributed to it. But it doesn't define who you were, and you cannot blame that thing for something that you can change presently. If you're still alive and you have the willingness to become better in any way possible, you can. But that's for us to kind of scrape that trauma away little by little, not blame anyone but ourselves, and find a way to that light. Find that way to that happiness that you want. And I hate saying the word happiness because I don't believe there's such thing. It's just feeling good about yourself. Right? I don't think there's like forever happiness. I think there's just a point where you just want to feel good. Why can't we just say that? Everyone's like, I want to be so happy. I'm going to be so happy. Shut up. You're never going to be that happy because if you believe that you're going to be only happy, then you're not accepting the fact that you could be sad or that it's okay to be sad. And then there's fake motherfuckers that pretend they're happy all the time, right? Yeah, no, I'm happy. And they're fucking not, because they don't know how to accept other emotions like anger, depression, sadness, hate. You're going to go through it. Go watch a movie Inside Out. We're all humans. We're all going to go through all these emotions. And as you grow up, you've been given them the entire time. But we find the ones that should not be shown, right? I can't feel this way. But it's just a feeling. And you can feel that way. F the world because the world F'd me. It stinks because I got to accept that that's not true. You know, I loved it. I would have tattooed it on me. If I was like, didn't care too much about what's on my body, I definitely would have tattooed it right here on my neck. These are my 3 nails painted, by the way. Right here on my neck. F the world because the world F'd me. I would have wrote it. And they just put it like that to people. And it would look cool in a discussion starter or whatever. But no. I didn't. Thank God. Honestly, I didn't get that. But you can't blame. Let me see what else I wrote. Here's what I wrote. Another one. While I was talking about that, here's something I wrote. I used to blame COVID for losing Crank. No, Crank never dies. It's inside each and every one, and each and every one of the members. COVID affected my mental illness and took me. It didn't take the gym. So I can't blame COVID. Think about that. God, that kind of sucked to say. But I love that part. Like, Crank never dies. It'll never die. It'll be in each and every one of the members and coaches there. Even friends and families of them. Because all they did was talk about it. It'll never die. The physical being of Crank is dead. Right? Coach Pete is collectively dead. It doesn't mean Pete Isip is dead. So maybe I did die at that time. Maybe that attempt did kill something. Right? Maybe it took that much to kill this image of a person that didn't suit me at the moment or for my future. So that killed Coach Pete, but not Pete, Isip, who is me, right here. Crank never dies. And I can't blame COVID, right? I'm not blaming COVID anymore. I'm done. In discussions, I always blame COVID. No, that's on me. That was my choice. That was my responsibility. I cannot blame an outside factor for something. I can't blame something for my own happiness. I cannot, and I will not. And I hope you don't either, or at least maybe think about your life and your obstacles and your struggles, and see where you're blaming something else. Where right-handedly it's yours. It's yours to blame all the time. We just don't want to take the responsibility of taking more action that we need to in order to become better. I took my steps, guys. I was not in a good place 2 years ago, if not a year ago. I was in the hospital, and I believe in the next episode I'm going to talk about my hospital visit. I'm going to talk about what they would call the asylum, right? The insane asylum. The what do they call it? I don't know what they call it. The mental illness section of the, what you think about, like when you're mentally ill, you're the psychiatric house, the cuckoo's nest, like that. You feel like you're gonna be like this with the long Edward Scissorhand arms, fingers. Like, no, that's not how it goes, right? It's not how it was, honestly. But that's definitely what I'll talk about next time. And I'll be doing it this week because I have some catching up to do. Again, it might be in a different area. My son won't walk into the live podcast, but at the same time, I'll find a place to do it. I'll definitely talk about that because I wrote something here for the next time. Going to say something. Say my brain's doing focus, not yours, not other. Nah, discomfort is the price. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. We talked about that last time. That's what we'll talk about last time. And just I can't blame COVID, so I forget where I'm at, but I don't want to waste your time while I'm writing my notes here. But in closing, the year 2023 is coming up, right? And I think it's time for you to rethink about how you think you've been affected your whole life or last year, and what you're going to do, or how are you going to change this now. Not New Year's resolution. What are you going to accept? What are the lies that you've been telling yourself and other people, trying to convince yourself that it's real in order to give yourself a reason or excuse not to become better? What is it? In 2023, I want you to figure that out. There's a reason you can't lose weight. There's a reason you can't find that job. There's a reason you're not happy at work. There's a reason your marriage is not doing well. There are reasons that we don't want to see and look at fully and to full extent. And then if we do, we're scared to do something about it. You got to start taking responsibility for the things that you think you're lacking from. I'm a prime example, 100%. 100%. With a lot of change and a lot of letting go and a lot of not even letting go, a lot of accepting, I'm happy. I can honestly say that I'm happy. And it's the first time I've said that, honestly, in a long, long time. So with that said, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching the Jersey to Vegas podcast, episode number 81. I'll see you this week for 82 and 83. So tune on in at some point. If you haven't, make sure you guys watch some videos. If you haven't watched other podcasts, just play it, let it ride, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, Cub Scouts. I don't know to this off ever.